So Nintendo's console that has yet to be released, called the NX, also known as... Nobody really knows what the NX stands for. But there's been a lot of debates. It's not even out yet. And a lot of people are saying that Nintendo is going to have, like, what can we really expect from it? Will it go up in flames like the Wii U sort of did, even though Nintendo did sell a lot of them, though? But, you know, realistically, I'll be honest, you know, I'm definitely looking forward to Breath of Wind, not Breath of Fire, but like Breath of Wind of, like, The Legend of Zelda. That looks really interesting. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but that looks pretty cool, though, for Nintendo's point of view. Anyways, but a lot of things I've noticed, though, is that it seems like Nintendo's not really trying to advertise it like they should. And, I mean, I still think they'll do very well, because, you know, I mean, it's Nintendo, you know, people still care about them. I mean, if they really didn't, then, you know, again, this is the same company that, you know, that when they published Pokemon, for example, you know, Pokemon Go was, I mean, look at what Pokemon Go really was all about. I mean, Nintendo, if Nintendo really needed money, they'd know how to make money. They're not going to go out of business. But at the same time, though, it kind of makes you wonder, though, you know, if Nintendo's got all this money, why is it so hard to gather third-party support for their console? You know, it's really interesting. It really is to think about. Third-party, the controls will probably be really good. I can imagine, you know, I've never really had a problem with Nintendo game controls, unless it was the company that designed them, but, you know, not the controllers, but maybe the game, the way they program. But Nintendo games are usually really responsive and really good, so I like that. But, you know, hopefully with the NX we can go back to, we don't have to have like motion controllers like all the time. We can use a controller, because I like that. I'm sure a lot of people like that. But I'm sure it will be like that if that's the case. But let's see, what else do we have? Yeah, so the NX, we can also expect, like, you know, like, we could probably have like one of every genre on there. Maybe, hopefully, we'll get Fatal Frame 6 if we can for the NX, because Nintendo owns the rights to it now, from what I understand. I had to play 4 and 5 still, but that looks pretty good, though. There was another game I was trying to think of. I can't remember what it was called. I hope they make a sequel to it. I'm surprised they haven't made a sequel to it. So it's a JRPG. Japan gets some really good JRPGs for their Nintendo consoles. You know, handhelds, they get a lot of games on them. They really do. Same thing with Sony, and Sony has a lot of games on their consoles. I mean, even the PS2, I'm still digging through. Maybe like I think there's like 20-something thousand PS2 games that are said to exist. I mean, that's a lot of games. Most of them were never localized. Some of them are educational games. Most of them are gambling games too, or I should say a good amount of them are. But, you know, but really, if you think about it, though, you know, there's a lot of JRPGs, and, you know, you just go sorting through them all, and it's like, you know, all these games that never got localized, and you think about, like, what they're about, and how did this game not get told? You know, like, what... You know, a lot of people say that there's not a lot of good games out there, but you just gotta find them. They're there. You know, and Nintendo, the way I look at it, I mean, I don't think Nintendo's NX is gonna have as many games on it. I mean, you never know. It could. I don't think it's gonna have as many games on it compared to, like, maybe Sony's consoles, but it'll probably have more than enough, though, definitely. Like maybe at least 700, 1,000 something games. I mean, that's pretty good. That'd be pretty good. But I'm just kind of shocked, though, if Nintendo can't gather third-party support like they did with the Wii U, for example. Like, in a lot of cases, you know, there was a lot of interesting things that I learned when people, like, they tore apart the aspect of it, and they said, like, how fast they could run and all that. And, I mean, sure, they changed. I mean, I'm not sure how much they changed it in the later versions of it, but if they still kept it the same, the specs of it, you know, it'd be really interesting to think, like, how much more advanced will the NX be? I mean, I know they're going back to cartridges, but it's like, you know, and it's not even out yet. But my first impression of it would probably be that I'm really excited to see what Nintendo comes out with, but more or less, I'd like to see what they're going to do, though. You know, what more games do we get? Because, I mean, I could go back to the 3DS, and I could probably find a buttload of games that were never localized, and they were probably worth it to some extent. Like, it's just really cool, like, seeing what people come up with. And at the same time, though, what has yet to be announced? So, you know, it's nobody really knows the exact date it's coming out. I think it might be coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken. Well, then again, when the Wii U came out back in 2012, people thought it was going to come out in 2013, but Nintendo managed to squeeze it in November. What was it, November 31st or something like that, before the PS4 and the. But the question really is, though, with the NX, will it be Nintendo's last console? Because, you know, Sony and Microsoft announced, well, I mean, Microsoft announced that they're not making any more games. Sony admitted that in the next 10 years they might actually just make their own PC, sort of. Even though in Japan they actually have their own PCs. Japan has like their oon style laptops. It's, in case you didn't know that, like, you know, like in the United States we have we have Macs and we have Microsoft. You know, I mean, I'm happy with what I have, but you know, but if you want to get into some serious like advanced technology, you know, first of all we have to take a look at what people get and what people have. So that'd be pretty cool to really figure that out, how that works. But overall, the way I look at the NX, I mean, will it be worth the money? How much will it cost? The way I think about it, you know, maybe it might cost around the same price as a PS4 when it drops in price, and the Xbox One, maybe. Or maybe it might actually be like $150 cheaper, you know. But the way I look at it, I don't think Nintendo is going to lose any money on it in some aspects. I think that they will make enough money because it's Nintendo, you know, it's, you know, I mean, the only reason that they passed Sony as far as stocks goes is because of popularity. People, I mean, and they still make good games, but I think they can do better, though. Same thing with Microsoft and Sony, though. Nintendo's always been there to remind us. I mean, keep in mind, I mean, I know some people get, you know, really tired of hearing this, but it's true, though. Nintendo has made games, and I'm just because most people grew up with Nintendo, but Nintendo has made games that even if I don't play them every day, I always want to play them again in the future. Like, you take Ocarina of Time, for example. Yeah, it's overrated. The Legend of Zelda series is overrated, but there's a reason why it's overrated, you know, because it's really good, and people like the music, and Koji Kondo, the guy who composed the music, did a really great job. Same thing with the Mario music. You know, you might have played those games before, but it's like, you know, they're just fun, though. You know, like, Nintendo really does put a lot of time into their games. Again, maybe they might not make the best business decisions, but hey, they're still rolling, they're still chugging along and making people happy, and isn't that all that really matters, you know? Because here's the way I look at it. You know, everything that I wish that Nintendo would do better, I figured you know, when I start making my own video games, that, you know, I could just make that in that aspect. So, like, for example, if people don't like what, you know, because you'll see a lot of people complain about what Nintendo does, for example. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if people just don't like it, then, well, you know, then find a way to fix it, you know, like, if Nintendo's really doing a terrible job in some aspects, then we need to figure out what they're doing wrong and fix it somehow. But how do we fix it, though? You know, do we contact them and remind them, or do we just make more video games that make up for what they're not doing? So again, like for example, like the first game I plan on making is going to be like some sort of anybody play Illusion of Gaia for the Super Nintendo? I'm sure there's a lot of people that have. Probably one of the greatest games of all time. It was made by Enix before it became Square Enix. We noticed that, well, I mean, they published it, I should say. And, you know, if you play Illusion of Gaia, if you remember, you go into the dungeons and, you know, you solve puzzles and you kill enemies at the same time and you level up at the same time. You know, a hack and slash. It's sort of like Secret of Mana. You know, or Secret of Evermore, and then there was the Secret of Mana 2, which was never localized, but the fans translated it. You know, I mean, that game was like a hack and slash and a strategy RPG. And the way I look at it, we need more games that are kind of like Illusion of Mana, or Illusion of Gaia, sorry, not Illusion of Mana. That'd be pretty cool if somebody made like a Sword of Mana and an Illusion of Gaia crossover. Because I always thought it was interesting. Will the main character in Illusion of Gaia looks like Isaac from Golden Sun. As a matter of fact, and the reason I bring this up in this video, is if you actually play Golden Sun, and you actually compare it to Illusion of Gaia, while they're two different games entirely, and they deal heavily on alchemy and the origins of life, I think I know where Camelot got their idea for Golden Sun, as well as, because think of it like this, Illusion of Gaia came out in 1994, and then Golden Sun was supposed to come out. Here's another thing you might not know. Golden Sun was actually, the first two games that were on the GBA was actually supposed to be one game and on the N64. But it was released on the Game Boy Advance, and there were two different games, which are pretty long, actually. But the way I look at it, geez, man, that's a lot of games. Long games, too, mind you. But the way I look at it, man, you know, there's a reason why, you know, some people just don't stop playing some games, no matter how old they are. And some people even just go back to the past to see what games they haven't played and just try and see what they never played. I mean, I'm still playing games in the 90s, and they were, like, really good games, you know? And then there was remakes then there were games that, like, takes the original Star Ocean, for example, on the Super Famicom. It was not released in the Japanese Super Nintendo. And, you know, they later re-released it on the PlayStation Portable. Obviously a more enhanced port, and it's obviously better. But it's like, wow, man, you know, they put that on the Super Nintendo, and the original Tales of Fantasia, if you're a Tales fan. And it's like, man, you know, how did these games not get localized? At least not until years later, anyways. Crazy, yeah? Japan gets some really good stuff. So does Asia. But, you know, I guess people can have nice things if they really sit down and earn it. But, you know, same thing with the NX, though. You know, all this has to do with the NX because, you know, the more I think about it, you know, Nintendo can do their fans really good as long as they just give us really long games and games that people have a lot of replay values, too, you know. And I'm sure there will be games out there, you know. People should just keep trying games that they've never played before, and they should just keep playing games that make them happy. Because no matter how many times you sit down and play it, it's the experience that counts. Seeing how everything's going to be going all distributional, or all digital, and everything's going to be like going on the internet anyways, you know, I think it's a good idea that we kind of hold on to the games we had in the past, just in case like some of the games that are coming out now might actually take longer to release before they come out. There's already enough games, but I mean, I think there's like 150 trillion something games. Somebody remember? I think it's up to 155 trillion now. But I don't know how somebody counted that, but it's like the biggest number I've ever seen. But the NX, though, I mean, there will be a lot of games on the NX. The price that I could imagine them selling for, anywhere between like maybe $59.99 to $39.99. Again, it just depends. It's going to be cartridges, but, you know, it's the kind of games that they make, though, that, I mean, the NX probably won't require, like, an expansion of any kind to run it, kind of like, you know, the N64, if you remember going back to those days, because that was the last, if I'm not mistaken, the N64 was the last cartridge-based console that Nintendo ever made. And I'm just trying to think if that's true, because when the handhelds came out, well, I mean, when we switched over to the GameCube, not talking about handhelds, cartridges, maybe, I mean, handhelds, yes, but I'm talking about like an actual console. That's not a handheld. You know, you had the GameCube, then you had the Wii, then you had the Wii U, and now the NX. So the way I'm looking at it now, you know, it's just a matter of time before we see what Nintendo really has to offer with their stuff. And I mean, I got my money because I'm gonna buy, because I just love video games in general. Love seeing what people come up with, and heck, you know, that's just, you know, you can't really go wrong there as long as, because, you know, it's what, you know, it's not just the games that come out, it's really like the opportunities, like, you know, video game entertainment is so much better than like television, and, you know, it's just as fun as playing with your friends and all that, and, you know, it's just really cool, like, it's an experience that never really dies. It's just this really cool idea that just continues to accelerate. You know, that's why people like PewDiePie play video games and people watch them, because, you know, there's a lot of money to be made there. And I mean, not just for money, but like hobbies, though, you know. It's just really cool what people do and how many people appreciate that, like the video game industry. Yeah, there's a bunch of shady things too that kind of ruin it too. We call that shovelware and dark business tactics like GameStop. Sorry, I must be getting a cold or something. But I'll have to go take some antidotes. But what do you guys think about the NX? I honestly, I mean, I'll make a follow-up video when more information is released. But this is like really more of like my honest opinion, and it's like a video that I hope really kind of opens a lot of people's minds up, because yeah, Nintendo doesn't always do #1, but you know, at the same time though, we've kind of underestimated them over the years too. You know, I mean, they sell people the same thing over and over again, but hey, you know, it's just really cool seeing like the fact that they're still willing to make some games that people actually still care about. Although I still wish that Nintendo would make more different games, but we'll make a video about that another time. But, you know, anyways, you know, comment, rate, subscribe, favorite, share this video with everybody. And tell me, what do you guys think about the NX? And what are you looking for the most about The Legend of Zelda Breath of Wind?